Welcome to BNEWS Weekly. I'm Phil Gallagher, along with BNEWS News Director Rich Hosford, BNEWS reporter Robert Parris, Liz Gillespie with the weather, Maddie Shipka with the community calendar, and Joe Vashoni with sports. Thank you for joining us. That according to the suspect, an act of vandalism first thought to be possibly anti-Semitic in nature was actually an homage to a hip-hop group. According to police, a juvenile male, age 17 of Burlington, was questioned by police on Friday. The department may bring criminal charges against the suspect. As reported on BNews, police were called to the Pine Glen Elementary School on Thursday morning to conduct an investigation after a report of graffiti was lodged. Burlington Police Detective Jim Tigas was assigned to the case. Police found two examples of what were at first thought to be incorrectly drawn swastikas on a stop sign and on the brick facade of the school building. Other graffiti tags were also found on a door and refuse bin. Police identified the suspect after reviewing surveillance footage. After questioning the suspect conducting research, the department has determined that the graffiti was not a swastika, but rather the logo of the hip-hop musical collective known as Pro Era, whose logo, the numbers 4 and 7 interwoven over a white circle and red background, has generated controversy for its resemblance to the Nazi flag. Further analysis indicated that the juvenile has shared his affinity for Pro Era in the past in social media postings, police said. The band could be a little bit more discerning in their selection of a logo. The Burlington Police Department is looking for public's assistance in identifying and locating a man suspected in shoplifting hundreds of dollars worth of merchandise from a Burlington store. According to the police information website massmostwanted.org, the suspect pictured here allegedly concealed approximately $500 worth of merchandise in his trench coat before exiting the Staples on Middlesex Turnpike on December 11th. The suspect is described as a male with a large build, tall frame, and light complexion. Anyone with information is asked to call the Burlington Police Department at 781-272-1212. The investigator on this case is Detective James Hannafin. A beloved family man and member of the Burlington High School community passed away last week. John R. Harbour, a retired senior custodian at Burlington High School, passed away after a brief illness on Thursday evening, January 3rd, 2019. The beloved husband of 54 years of Matilda Tilly Vozella, he was 79 years old. John was born, raised, and educated in Chelsea. After high school, he enlisted in the United States Navy, serving his country in the Navy for 3 years and the reserves for 3 more years. After the service, John met his future wife, Tilly Vozella, on a blind date in 1963. A year later, they married, and a year later, they moved to Burlington. John worked as a senior custodian at Burlington High for 37 years. He took pride in his job and loved his daily interaction with the students and the faculty. He was even blessed to work side by side with his son, Raymond, for a number of years prior to his retirement. John also volunteered his time working many of the sporting events at the high school, whether it was working at the gates or collecting tickets. In his early years in Burlington, following in the tradition of his dad, he was an on-call firefighter for the Burlington Fire Department. John and Tilly had a wonderful 54-year marriage. In the summers, they enjoyed family vacations at Lake Winnipesaukee and York Beach. They also took trips together to Italy to visit Tilly's family. John had a great love for his wife and his 2 children, and they were the most important part of his life. Nothing brought him more peace and contentment in life than simply being a good husband and father. John will be remembered for his big heart, his welcoming personality, and for always having a huge smile on his face. Burlington resident Paul Mansfield is training for the 2019 Boston Marathon with the goal of raising funds for the Joslin Diabetes Center. His inspiration? His 5-year-old son Frankie, who at the age of 4 was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. BNews Director Rich Hosford went to meet the family and has this report.
If your child had an illness, what would you do to help find a cure? One Burlington dad has taken it upon himself to hit the pavement to train for the grueling 26.2 miles, including the notorious Heartbreak Hill of the Boston Marathon, to raise funds for diabetes research. His inspiration? His 5-year-old son Frankie, who at the age of 4 was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. Type 1 diabetes is an autoimmune disease in which the immune system destroys the insulin-making cells in the pancreas so that the body can no longer absorb glucose from the food that is eaten. Without glucose, there is no fuel for the cells and one cannot survive. For Frankie, that means regular doses of insulin, which thanks to advances in science are doled out using a Bluetooth-enabled pump that injects the proper amount based on what the child is eating. It may be a bit of a hassle, but it hasn't slowed him down any.
Yeah, he's a happy kid. He rolls with it. I think in some ways it's a blessing to be young because it's just kind of his new normal.
Of course, living with diabetes does bring difficulties, and the procedures involved with staying healthy do mean some downtimes for the 5-year-old.
You know, a lot of ups and downs. I mean, the thing you learn once you actually live this is that it's a daily just sort of game of chase, trying to constantly keep everything in check. And there's lots of, pokes and things that he has just adjusted to pretty well. I mean, we have to stick his finger a lot to check his blood sugar, and he gets insulin, with everything that he eats. But he's adjusted, I think, as well as any kid his age could.
Fortunately for Frankie and his parents, they live in Burlington, which is close to all the medical care and research facilities located in Boston. One key institution for them is the Joslin Diabetes Center, founded in 1898, that is known all over the world for its work in diabetes treatment and research.
So Joslin Diabetes Center, we're really lucky to live in Boston, where they do all of this sort of groundbreaking, world-renowned research right here in our backyard. And so Joslin is the leader sort of in the nation, if not the world, at this stuff. And they're doing lots of really exciting research, looking at hopefully ways to cure diabetes, hopefully ways to either transplant back those insulin-making cells that have been killed off, or also there's sort of what they call artificial pancreas, sort of technology ways to give the insulin and balance the blood sugar with technology. And so they're doing all kinds of cool research on both of those fronts. And it really is promising. There's hope on the horizon for these guys, which is why this meant so much to us, because in his lifetime, we really could see a cure if we stand behind some of this awesome work that they're doing.
Enter Paul Mansfield, Frankie's dad, who ran the New York Marathon last year, and his decision to run the Boston Marathon and raise funds for the Joslin Center as he does so.
Since his diagnosis, we've been always thinking about what could we do, to support the diabetes research. So I looked at the Joslin's page, and I applied for the Joslin's team to run the Boston Marathon. It was kind of a half-hearted kind of thing. I was like, I just ran. It was tough, but do I want to do it again? Yes, I want to do it.
Initially, Paul wasn't selected from the over 100 runners who applied for the 12 spots on the team, but when someone else dropped out, he was in. This has meant nearly daily runs with longer treks on the weekend, among other types of training. It's a lot of work, but his inspiration is always waiting for him at home.
It's tough, especially with our full family, trying to find time to get out, but every day you see kind of what we have to do, what he has to do, and you worry about, how that's going to affect him in the long run. And so, motivating myself to get out there and go for a run is not such a big deal when, we just have to make sure for him, just to get through a day, you've got to do so much just to maintain that. So, it's motivation, and, to raise money for that kind of research to make his life better is important. So, that's something you can keep in the back of your mind.
We have provided a link to support Paul's fundraising effort with this video if anyone wants to help him meet his goal. From the Mansfield home, I'm BNEWS Director Rich Hosford for BNEWS Weekly.
1 in 300 kids have diabetes just like me. Wait, what's after those?
Thank you. Thank you for making a difference.
Thank you for making a difference.
Again, anyone who wants to contribute to Paul's fundraising effort can find a link to his page at bcattv.org/bnews. Town government works best when dedicated people are involved, and now is the chance for those interested in running for a public office or town meeting to throw their hat in the ring. Town Clerk Amy Warfield sent out the following release regarding the 2019 Burlington town election. Town Clerk Amy Warfield says that if you are interested in participating in local government, here is your opportunity. The Town Clerk's office at Town Hall is looking for residents who are interested in getting involved to get information and take out papers for the town election on April 6th. Nomination papers must be taken out by February 13th at 5 p.m. Openings include Well, there's contested races would be for moderator, 2 Board of Selectmen positions, 2 school committee seats, as well as seats on the planning board, library trustees, assessor, Board of Health, Housing Authority, and Recreation Commission, among others. There are also open seats in all town meeting precincts. Find a full list on bcattv.org/bnews, or you can go directly to Amy's website on burlington.org. Any registered voter living in Burlington who would like to participate in local government can take out papers to fill these seats. To be placed on the ballot, you will need to get signatures from Burlington registered voters, 50, sometimes 150, but 50 in this case, by the deadline, which is February 15th. The town election is April 6th at the Burlington High School gym. Burlington Town Meeting will once again consider whether to approve a warrant article that would ban the use of plastic bags in commercial use, such as at grocery and retail stores. The ban was first proposed by 2 Burlington High School students, Stavan Shah and Ricky Vidham, who argued that the plastic bags cause significant environmental damage. In a presentation before town meeting in September, they argued the bags cause significant amounts of pollutions to be released when they are made, and that they do not biodegrade, so they last in the environment for a very long time, unlike paper, of course. They said the bags end up in trees, on the ground, and most significantly in waterways and oceans, where they break down into tiny plastic particles that can be eaten by fish and other underwater wildlife. During the September meeting, town meeting members seemed to be largely in favor of the ban, but decided to postpone a vote on the theory a state law might make a local action moot. There were also some who argued that relying more on paper bags also has an adverse effect on the environment as more trees are cut down. Supporters of the ban pointed out that already more than 80 Massachusetts communities have approved similar bans. They also argued that the best solution is for people to use reusable bags rather than paper or plastic, and that a ban would possibly inspire more people to take this route, unless, of course, like me, you forget to take them out of the trunk. Town meeting is set to convene on Monday, January 28th in the Burlington High School Auditorium at 7:30 p.m. The Burlington boys varsity basketball team has been doing fairly well over the past month. The team has reached the mid-season and are looking to find ways to continue their success on and off the court. BNEWS reporter Robert Paris went to meet with the team and has this look.
Shooting, scoring, and plenty of action could be seen down on the court at Burlington High School. This week I caught up with the boys varsity basketball team and head coach Phil Connors about how they are doing as they hit the middle of the season.
I'd say, we've played in peaks and valleys. We've had some really good moments, some really tough moments. We had probably our high point was actually a loss. The best team we played, we lost by a point in overtime. That was a tough loss, but we played great. We're coming off a bad loss. We've had injuries. We've had a little adversity to fight through. So basically where we're at, trying to hopefully play a little better. We haven't been home in a long time, so it's nice to get home tonight.
The team has had their struggles during the past month by losing multiple key players with injuries.
We've gone through a little bit of adversity so far, losing a couple guys, losing a couple big keys, but we're fighting, we're playing hard as a team, we're working on defense, we're doing a really good job on defense. We just gotta wait for shots to fall.
Yeah, our shot hasn't been falling, which is kind of depressing, but
As far as the remaining schedule, the team will have the next 3 games on the road with 1 divisional and 2 non-league opponents.
It gets much hotter. Yeah, we've had, I'd say, a pretty favorable schedule so now, but going forward, we play Belmont, play Arlington, play some really, really good teams. So it only gets tougher from here.
Connors and the team have had some tough losses, but they always get back on the court and try their hardest.
When we've had a couple tough losses, the kids have bounced back and done the right things. As far as we had a good couple practices coming into this, so I have no complaints as far as the effort the kids have given and shown and bounced back from adversity so far.
The team is looking to play every game with high energy as they continue to improve their skills along the way.
I think honestly just like building on our team for next year too, just because it's not all about the seniors. We're trying to continually improve as a program every year. So hopefully us as leaders of the team can pass down some key knowledge to the younger guys and they can continue the success in the years coming.
We want to win games and hopefully every day in practice we get better with our skills so we can shoot the ball the way we want to shoot the ball. If we can shoot the ball, it brings out the rest of our offense. And defensively, we've been good all year. So it's the rebounding and the shooting of the basketball that we can hope to gets a little better.
From the Burlington High School Gymnasium, I'm Robert Paris for BNEWS Weekly.
A complete rundown of the latest in BHS sports with our sports report later in the broadcast. Shoppers in Burlington looking for an engagement ring, a special gift, a new watch, or some bright new jewelry may soon have a new location of a long-established presence in town to check out. An application for site plan approval has been filed with the Burlington Planning Board for a new Long's Jewelers for a site on the west side of the Burlington Mall property. According to the application, the new building will be a two-story, 18,400 square foot structure that will connect to the mall with a new pedestrian connection. There is already a Long's Jewelers, as you know, on 60 South Avenue in Burlington, and if this project is approved, the business will move into a new, bigger building. Long's Jewelers is a family-owned and operated full-service jeweler with 5 stores throughout Massachusetts and New Hampshire. The jewelry store has been a long-established presence in New England that began in 1878 when Thomas Long, a Massachusetts native, opened his Boston-based jewelry business. The application is set to be heard by the Burlington Planning Board on Thursday, February 7th. Growing scam, of course, again, is targeting residents, and the Federal Trade Commission is trying to fight back. The scam features people pretending to be from the Social Security Administration who are trying to trick people into giving up their Social Security numbers or their money. That scam is now growing exponentially, the FTC said. To compare, in 2017, they heard from 3,200 people about imposter scams, and these people reported losing nearly $210,000. In 2018, more than 35,000 people have reported the scam, with total losses of near $10 million. In the scam, the culprits say your Social Security number has been suspended because of suspicious activity or because it's been involved in a crime. Sometimes the scammer wants you to confirm your number to reactivate it. Sometimes he'll say your bank account is about to be seized, but he'll tell you what to do to keep it safe, and that involves putting your money on gift cards and giving them the codes. If you do this, your money will be gone. As a further way of tricking people, the scammers often spoof the caller ID, so it shows the real Social Security Administration's phone number when these scammers call. Here's what to do. Your Social Security number is not about to be suspended. You don't have to verify your number to anyone who calls out of the blue, and your bank accounts are not about to be seized. Social Security Administration will never call to threaten your benefits or tell you to wire money, send cash, or least of all, put money on a gift card. Anyone who tells you to do these things is a scammer every time. If you're elderly, call the Senior Citizens Center, and Marge can tell you exactly what to do. Never give any part of your Social Security number to anyone who contacts you, or your bank account or credit card numbers to anyone. If you get one of these calls, tell the FTC at ftc.gov/complaint. A program to bring workers from Lowell to fill vacant spots in Burlington restaurants has been provided with funding. Middlesex 3 Coalition, Senator Cindy Friedman and Representative Ken Gordon have secured funding necessary to establish a shuttle service that will allow local restaurants to fill job openings with otherwise unemployed workers from Lowell. The program, which has been a priority for the Burlington Area Chamber of Commerce, was awarded $290,000 over 3 years by the Boston Regional Metropolitan Planning Organization. Previously, this fiscal year, the Middlesex 3 Coalition was awarded $125,000 by the Commonwealth to fund a regional transportation coordinator, bringing the total state support to $415,000 over a 3-year period. The program will be funded largely by public investments in the first year, and then will transition to private support over 3 years. By the 4th year of the program, the transportation services will be funded entirely by area businesses. It will begin as a link between Lowell and Burlington, but as it grows, plans are for it to extend to communities such as Bedford and Billerica, as well as provide access to seniors and other members of the community. The program will operate through the Middlesex 3 Transportation Management Association. Those who work on weekends or late at night will be picked up in Lowell and taken express to Burlington so that they can get to their employer on time. Riders will have transportation back home again, even in those instances where a sick child or other emergency may require them to return home mid-shift. Peter Brown is out this week, but we have BCAT volunteer Liz Gillespie filling in for this week's forecast. We'll also check out the community calendar with Maddie Shipka to see what's happening in Burlington.
Hello, I'm Liz Gillespie, filling in for BNEWS meteorologist Peter Brown, who is out this week. We start our weather report with the almanac. According to the numbers, we are going to have below average temperature of 35 degrees, with a high only in the upper 20s. Historically, there has been spring-like temperatures in the past, with a high of 60 degrees, recording on this day in 1975. However, the historic low for this day was negative 11 degrees in 1988. It must be a very cold day for those outside. One final note on the almanac is that the days are getting longer each and every day. Sunset will be at 4:32 p.m. Now, let's look at the 7-day forecast. It seems like we are going to start the week with below average temperatures before seeing a rise later in the 7-day cycle. Friday and Saturday will bring partly sunny skies with temps in the upper 20s. Sunday and Monday, we will see more partly sunny skies with temps in the upper 20s and low 30s. Finally, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday will be much more of the same with temps in the mid to upper 30s and mid 20s. That's all for your weekly forecast. I'm Liz Gillespie saying as Peter Brown always does, get out and enjoy the weather.
I'm Maddie Shipka, and this is your community calendar. E equals MC squared. On Thursday, January 17th at 6:30 p.m., the Burlington Public Library will be having a presentation called Albert Einstein, Reluctant Superstar. It will be presented by George Capaccio, who will be portraying Albert Einstein. In this presentation, George will focus on Einstein's later years as an outspoken rebel. Everyone is welcome and the event is free. For more information, visit burlington.org or call 781-270-1690. Learn about Burlington High School's local magazine. On Saturday, January 19th at 9 a.m., the Barnes & Noble in Burlington will be having a special book fair featuring the BHS magazine Collab. Collab is a national award-winning literary magazine published by the students of Burlington High School, which have been publishing students' original stories, poems, art, and music since 1970. Everyone is welcome to the book fair. For more information about Collab, visit collabmagazine.wordpress.com. Come and learn a little bit about the new year of the trees. On Sunday, January 20th at 6 p.m., Shawshene Valley Technical High School will be having an event for their Hadassah installation and 2 Bishvat Sedar at Temple Shalom Emeth. Hadassah, or Women's Zionist Organization of America, is a volunteer organization that inspires a passion for and commitment to the land, the people, and the future of Israel. Everyone is welcome. The cost will be $10 per person. Register by visiting www.hadassah.org/events/SVH installation or email Diana Fine at dianafine2000@gmail.com. I'm Maddie Shipka, and this is your community calendar.
We go now to Joe Vicioni for the latest Red Devil news in this week's sports report.
Hello everyone, I'm Joe Vicioni for your weekly sports report. The winter season is getting exciting here at Burlington High. Despite a loss to Reading on Tuesday, the girls basketball team is 3-3 this season and poised to make a run at qualifying for the state tournament. Coach Pam McKay's team plays in Melrose on Friday night, looking to get back over the 500 mark and stay in the mix for the Middlesex Freedom Division title. The boys basketball team had a big win against Reading on Friday, shaking off a tough loss to Watertown in its previous game. With senior Alex Wong emerging as one of the boys are also in the running for a playoff spot this winter. We have some highlights, so let's go check them out.
It was a fast-moving, action-packed game down at the Burlington High School gym. On Tuesday night, the boys varsity basketball team faced off against the Reading Rockets at home in a matchup where it was a must-win for both participants. The first period was very tight for scoring. The teams gave up limited fouls, but overall it was back and forth with tight coverage on the defenses. As the period ends, both teams were tied. Burlington would get a chance to get 3 points as the shot clock was winding down. Burlington would add an additional 26 points in the second period, while Reading would only add 13 points. There were also multiple fouls on the teams. The boys would continue their success by increasing their score up to 24 points by the end of the third. The Burlington defense only allowed 8 points for the Reading Rockets. Now, as the fourth and final period began, the Red Devils slowed the game down a bit, but they only scored 8 points in the final period. Reading, on the other hand, would score double that, as they added an additional 21 points. It was a great physical game for both schools, but Burlington was the better team in this one, with a final score of 74-55 Burlington. The boys will travel to Melrose for a divisional game against the Red Raiders, who are currently 4-3 on Friday night at 7 p.m.
Already, the track and field regular season has ended, and despite starting 0-2, the boys track team finished with a 3-2 record. The postseason meets will be starting soon, and keep your eyes on senior Rashad Prakash, who has become one of the state's elite long-distance runners. Speaking of elite, the Soda twins, Cam and Zach, have been making some noise on the wrestling mats for the Red Devils. Both Sodas were champions at last weekend's Chelmsford tournament. Zach took first at 106 pounds with 4 victories, 3 by fall, and then Cam Soda also went 4-0 at 113 pounds, including a double overtime triumph in the championship bout. On the ice, don't count out the boys' hockey team yet. Despite a slow start by the Red Devil standards, the boys clobbered Stoneham on Wednesday night by a score of 8-3. The girls, however, had a tough time against the Spartans as they were outscored 7-1. Sophomore and forward Alexa Hamilton got the goal for the Lady Devils late in the second period. The girls are still trying to figure out their first win of the season as they fall to 0-10 on the year. Burlington boys and girls both skate this Saturday, the boys playing in a difficult non-league game in Hingham on Saturday night at 8 o'clock, and the girls facing Watertown at 12:20 on Saturday afternoon. Anyways, that's all for your weekly sports report. I'm Joe Viscioni, and back to you guys in the studio.
Another week, another photo to highlight. This week we have a photo that combines the majesty of nature with the prosaic elements of modern life. It was sent in by Heather Cornell and shows a sunset in neighboring Woburn, captured between power lines and nestled in the tree line. Thank you for the photo, Heather. We'd like to see your photos. They could be of something you see around town, whether outside your own door, or photos of your family members, friends, and pets. Whatever you think is interesting and would like to share with us and the community. Email your photos to bcat@bcattv.org with the subject line Photo of the Week. Okay, that's it from the news desk here at BNEWS Weekly. I'm Phil Gallagher along with Rich Hosford, Robert Parrish, Liz Gillespie, Maddie Shipka, and Joe Viscioni. Thank you for joining us.